You're listening to a podcast that we haven't decided what it's called yet, but it involves me and Adam Millward. Me is, for the moment, Germ.
We did decide what it was called.
Oh, what's it called?
I forget. Wasn't it Arty something?
Arty with Adam and Germ.
No, it was the Arty on.
Oh, yeah. Arty on, Adam.
Yeah, no, this is ridiculous.
No, this is the perfect beginning. Get over here.
It's not.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm letting it run. This is how a beginning starts. You gotta roll with the
Garbage.
punches. 30 seconds in, the punches have been thrown, and we're rolling with them.
We're rolling with punches.
Let me fix that camera.
There we go.
Okay, so Adam, start off by telling a little bit about yourself. Like, who are you?
Who am I? I'm the most famous mandala artist on Facebook, pretty much. Been on there for years.
What if someone else who does mandalas is watching this right now and they're like offended?
Well, if they're offended, then they can claim that they're the most famous one, and that's fine. Put it in the comments. I'd love to meet other mandala artists. Awesome.
Is it true that you are the most famous?
I don't know if it is or not, but it's a good
That's a
way to
bold
introduce
statement,
myself,
okay.
isn't it?
Well, this is what
I
this
could have
podcast-
said, pleased to meet you. I don't know. What's the beginning of Jumpin'
Is there
Jack
another-
Flash?
Jumping Jack Flash, it's a gas.
Yeah, no, but doesn't it start?
Born in like a typhoon rainstorm or something like that.
Introduce myself. Nice to meet you.
No,
Come
that's
to get
the
my
devil.
name. Oh, okay.
That's
whatever.
the devil song.
All right.
Sympathy for the devil. So
I
basically,
don't
he's the
know them.
devil. That explains his beard. I also have the same beard. But I'm bootleg
Not
Jesus.
the same one. His is on his chin. Mine is on mine.
Fortunately for me, you don't have those shirts anymore to show people.
Fortunately for me, you bought them all.
So, if there is another mandala artist on Facebook, do you have shirts like this?
I don't know. I doubt it.
And this is what this podcast is all about.
I doubt
How
that.
did
I don't-
Adam
I don't
get
know if-
all this
I don't know
clothes?
if they have silk scarves either, or blankets, or like I don't know. But mandalas are great for that.
How long have you been doing mandalas?
I've been doing them since 1999 or something. I started doodling them when I worked in call centers, but I only started painting them in 2011 on canvas.
So I think it's only right, since it's the first episode and we're not even 3 minutes in, that you introduce how the hell you became an artist before you even got all this clothes and shit like that. How did you pay you're paying the bills, you're a professional artist. How the hell did it come to this point?
I had lost a job I had for 10 years, and I started painting those doodles on canvas. I had a lot of free time. You can only look for a job so many hours when you're unemployed, you have a lot of free time. In the meantime, when you're sending out resumes and whatever. So
Did you believe, or was it just a way to pass the time?
I was interested in getting into it, but I didn't believe it was a career or anything. I mean, it was just something I was interested in doing as a hobby, picking up, trying it out.
Because you had told me that someone that you had worked with had mentioned, hey, you should try painting those doodles that you keep doing all the time.
Yeah, somebody did. Kevin Regan. Thanks, Kevin. He told me many years ago that when he saw my doodles that I should try painting them and maybe coloring them in, but at that time I was collecting art by Chris Dyer. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but check him out at positivecreations.ca. He's the sickest visionary artist.
He's the most famous visionary artist. Not
on Facebook.
Really?
He is on Facebook, but yeah.
Wait, Alex Ray maybe isn't on Facebook yet.
No, he is. He
Oh.
is. But yeah, Chris is a very famous visionary artist on Facebook, and I'm very honored that he's asked me to participate in his upcoming show in Colorado to paint one of his galactic dude sculptures. Very inspiring dude. I mean, that's to continue my story about how I became an artist. Part of it involved knowing Chris, a huge part of it actually. But
Just gonna stop you for a second. It's an ongoing story, and I keep learning more about how you became an artist. So it's suffice to say, you're not gonna cram it all in the first podcast. But if people keep watching, they're gonna get to know more and more about those little tidbits.
Sure.
So you were working in a call center. You were making more money than you should have had. This is my understanding.
I suppose you could put it that way.
And part of your spending habits were on art.
Yeah, definitely.
And why was that?
I don't know, something about Chris's art made me happy. I like bright colors. I like the idea of investing in art. I felt good when I supported Chris because he was living a kind of life that I wanted to live, traveling around the world and going to all these cool places and meeting cool people and basically just honoring his creative soul. And so that's that's a big reason why. But Chris also is like the most important thing Chris ever said to me when I was trying to become an artist was he said to me that you can't ever expect to work full time as an artist if you're not working, or you can't ever expect to make a full-time living working as an artist if you're not working as an artist full time. And 2 weeks later, I quit my job, and I've been working full-time as an artist ever since, so thanks, Chris.
He also Velcroed Chris's paintings to a wall or something?
Yeah, my paintings are hung with the 3M strips.
So you can't even I can't even bring it here to show?
You can't bring that one.
Can you bring one to show?
I suppose I can.
Yeah, go get one. Because collecting an art is a serious thing, yo. And you don't want to see the Chris Dyer that I own. I'm sorry, Chris, but you're not getting it back. It's rightfully mine. I found it at your house. Look, I stole it and I ain't giving it back, alright? But Adam's got like, I don't know, how many do you have? 9?
I have 9 original Chris Dyer paintings, yes.
That's serious investments. How much, like, conservatively, not to be like, ooh, but how much more do you think they're worth? Could they be worth 2 times more? What you paid me?
Think if I tried to resell them today, I could probably get at least 3 to 5 times as much for most of them.
And he's not, he's being honest, like, you'd love to say
this
10.
one I commissioned from Chris. I own 9, but this is the only one I commissioned. Chris doesn't do a lot of commission work anymore because it's a pain in the ass dealing with clients like me. But I'm super glad that he did this one for me. It's really meaningful. I love the life cycle of a dragonfly, how it starts off in the mud and then ends up flying and being like a top predator. And yeah, so basically that's what this one means to me. It's how you start off in the flames, things are hard, you're burning up, and then through life you grow and you're up in the sky.
And let's be real, what is life without tits?
Yeah, Chris put those in. I didn't really ask him for tits.
Fun fact, in Chris's book, please pull out the book so we have another reference. We have great references today. In the book, Chris claims that Adam is sex crazed, and that's why these tits are here. Not even joking. It's in print in a book.
Which absolutely is not true at all. I never asked him to put girls into the painting. He somehow wrote himself notes to remind him to do that, but I didn't ask for that. Here it is. We can...
Look, good investment, right? It's literally in a book. That's what we call
it's in a book.
provenance.
It's on the bottom of skateboards. It's on T-shirts. This is a famous image, and I'm the one who commissioned it. So I feel like a little bit like I had a hand in creating it. So that's why I love doing commissioned work, because like being a co-creator of something and taking an artist's talent and like putting your ideas in their head and making something that's like the artist never would have made on their own. It's kind of a way for people that aren't artists to sort of be an artist, and that's why I did that. This was before I started painting myself, and it was a pretty amazing feeling to know that something that I had the idea for became something real out of the hands and mind of Chris Dyer, and now I have the real one, and it's in books and everything else we just said.
I'm going to hand you this one, and I'm going to read, while you go hand that back, I'm going to read the passage from Chris Dyer's book entitled Positive Creations, The Visionary Art of Chris Dyer. On page... There is no number, but I'm sure you will never forget what I'm about to read. This piece was commissioned by an old client of mine who many years has been struggling with his positive and negative sides. His love of nature, spirituality, and his addictions to alcohol, cocaine, and women. So, here in print, he threw in girls here, even though Adam claims that he has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, no,
I find it hard to believe that you would suggest that Chris is obsessed with women when on the second page there is clearly a vulva vagina being painted. But who am I to judge?
Look, I love women. I just not sex crazed and addicted to them. That's like Chris, I guess.
Whoa. Okay, whoa. We don't know that. Okay.
We don't know that, but Freud might have some ideas if he looked at all of Chris's art.
So there's a reason why you go off on a Chris tangent right now. Chris is an important person.
Yeah, and you brought out the doll. It's your fault.
All kinds of things. It's an important character that we both have met.
Yeah.
A successful artist.
Definitely.
And I personally think that you really helped Chris become a successful artist by being that initial investor. So if there's an investor out there right now that's listening that wants to help my life, email me.
Speaking of that, I also own what?
No, shut up. No, shut up. Buy my art.
That's what I was about to say. I own like 13 of your paintings.
I fucked up.
I own 13 of his paintings. So yeah, buy his art. It's an amazing investment. I was an art investor and collector before I was an artist.
Why were you an art investor first?
Because, like I said, it was something that I felt good about buying. Like when, if say for example, I went to buy a stock, I wouldn't get to look into the stock person's eyes and see the passion and follow the guy on social media and like learn about what ticks him and like with Chris or with any artist, when you buy their art and you follow them on social media, like you can literally see what the money you gave them turns into, and then that in turn can inspire other people all over the world that follow them. So it's like a huge like, it's not just you're buying art, it's like you're buying a better world.
You're vicariously living through them. I remember you told me that when you bought a painting from Chris, and I think you might have juked someone, right? Was it the same story where the guy's trying to buy it and you're like, fuck that guy, I'll give you $500 more?
Yeah.
And then he takes your money and flies to like Cambodia or something?
Yeah, I don't remember which trip it was that he took, but I offered to pay him more, and I offered to pay him faster than this other guy that he'd already agreed to make a deal with, and Chris took the deal because, money makes the world go round. The other guy was kind of okay with the deal. Chris gave him a print of the board. I'm sure it was an awkward conversation for Chris to have, but at the end of the day, I have it on my wall now, and it was a good investment. And
I remember you telling me...
Sorry, Brian.
Brian, sorry. But I remember you telling me that you vicariously were living through Chris while he was on his vacation. You felt that,
in a way,
you were
for sure. I mean, I was stuck at a freaking call center office in the middle of February in Montreal, minus 20 degrees out, and Chris is posting pictures of himself painting, riding elephants in Thailand, and painting hot girls, or painting with hot girls, and of course, yeah, I was kind of like, it's not like I was jealous, like I was inspired, and I was like, wow, it's like, I felt like I was part of it, and I felt like there was something bigger than me working through this whole connection that we had. So like it was maybe part of like the seed of me becoming an artist was supporting another artist, because I knew how it felt to support another artist. So when I started making art myself, I sort of assumed that maybe if I did nice art and if I had an inspiring story behind it, which, I used to be a drug addict and I started painting, and 6 months after my first painting I got sober. I've been sober for almost 7 years now from alcohol and hard drugs, so it's like I'm a new person, and like I hope that my story inspires other people, because life's short, and if you have a passion that you want to do, you got to do it, because you're gonna die, and that's the straight up truth. Like, you have a certain amount of time, tomorrow's tomorrow, and then, next thing you know, you're 85, and tomorrow's, you're in a hospital, and that's it. So, like, if you have something you want to do, you got to do it. So, today's the day, start.
Because you're going to die. Okay, so, at one point you started. We all started, me and you, became an artist. We're going to stick with your storyline right now.
Sure.
I want to know how it feels on the other flip of the coin when someone supports you now.
Honestly,
and now you're Chris Dyer.
It still feels surreal. It often feels like I almost want to cry sometimes. It's just like really humbling, and it's like it fills me with gratitude. It's really hard to explain, because it's almost hard to charge what I put my time into for my art. Like I still probably should charge like almost double what I'm charging for my art, but there's this part of me that feels like I'm providing a service that's like, spiritual oriented and whatnot like that. So like I have this fear of charging more for my art, even though I'm pretty sure if I do, people will buy it, because that's the truth is my time is in there. When I paint for 200 hours or 100 hours or 80 hours on a painting, I can't sell that for $200. I can, but it's not worth my time to do that as a working artist.
There's that feeling in society where art should be free.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people have that mentality. I get people that
But even an artist feels that way. Like an artist still has that urge inside to give the gift.
Yeah, for sure.
Now we live in a world though unfortunately, if I give you this painting right here, if you don't pay me $100 for this painting, you know what you're going to do? You're not going to hang it on a wall.
Or Velcro it on a wall.
Or Velcro it, or M3 or whatever he did. Could you explain why that is?
because if you don't pay the bucks, you don't get the stuff.
No, it means that you're not honoring it. And when you get something for free, you might mistake it for something else.
That's
and you
true
might
too.
not honor it. Didn't you tell me a story where you fucking remember giving a guy a free painting? You were stoked. You're so happy you gave this guy a free painting at the beginning of your career.
Yeah,
An
for
early
sure.
mistake in most artists. So here's one of the tips that you're finally
Well,
getting.
it wasn't a mistake because
15 minutes in, we finally got our first tip.
It wasn't a mistake because it felt great at the time, and I
all
learned
made
something
this-
from it.
We all made this mistake.
And we
Or-
didn't make a mistake.
We
learned
all
from
do
it.
this. Yeah, we
Yeah,
all
we
do
all
this.
do this. Thanks. There you
Yeah.
go. No such thing as a mistake if you learn from it. So yeah, of course, there's people that I gave free art to, and in person they were very grateful for it. But then later I'd go by their place and I'd be like, "Oh, so where'd you put my painting?" And they'd be like, and awkwardly like try and change the subject, and I'd be like, "Where is it, man?" And then they'd show me like, "Oh, it's in a drawer. Like my wife doesn't like it." Or like it doesn't really go with our decor or whatever, and it's like, so like it was an act of gratitude on my part, but to them, clearly by putting it away in a drawer, like a week after they got it, they didn't really respect the gift I was giving them. So I'd rather that if I'm gonna give art, that I give art to somebody who's like,
It's tough.
it's tough. It's tough to decide who to give art to. But I very rarely give art as gifts. I'll trade art with people that have something that I need or somebody that I really, really, really like their art maybe, or think it's a good investment at the same time. But when you're an artist and you're working as an artist, you have to consider how are you going to pay your bills. And giving away art usually doesn't pay the bills because, people don't turn around and shout you out like you think they're going to.
Especially not when it's free, which is the whole point.
Yeah.
Like you think that by giving it to someone for free, they're gonna hang it on the wall and talk big ups about it. They're not.
And if they do, they're going to be like, "Yo, I got this for free."
And you don't
And
want
then other
that.
people are going to hit you up and expect
Yeah.
cheap art or free art, and it's like, I can't do that, man. I got to pay my phone bill. I got to pay rent. I got to eat. I like to have new products made with my art because people ask me for them all the time. It's not free to do that. So if I want to keep my business going and growing, then I got to keep making money. And if I live in a basement apartment right now, I'm almost 40. I don't want to live here forever. I'd like to live in a bigger place. I'd like to maybe travel more. All these things that everybody else in the world wants to do, artists want to do them too.
Yep.
So it's like, if you really like what we do and you really find value in that, then like that's why I set up a supporting patron thing on my website for like a Patreon type of deal where you can donate monthly, $5 a month even.
Which is revolutionary because it's not on Patreon.
Yeah, no, I do it on my
He
own
said
website.
it's a Patreon thing. It's not Patreon. It's on his own website, but it's supporting patrons.
Yeah, and basically it's
So I
the
give
same
him
thing as
$5 a
Patreon.
month. He
He
hustled
was my
me.
first supporting patron, and I'm super grateful for
Is
that.
it USD?
It's USD, yeah.
5 USD he hustled me out of every month.
Yeah.
Okay,
I didn't
so-
hustle him. He was glad to give it to me.
Yeah,
He says I hustled him, but honestly, I'm pretty sure he was glad to give it to me because...
It's a joke. It's mostly a joke because I like using that word.
Yeah.
But it's to me it's a mishpah.
A
Is that
mitzvah
right? It's a
is
mitzvah.
the Hebrew word for a good deed done with a spiritual intention of being seen by God and God knowing you're doing a good deed, basically.
Come
But anyway,
on, light above my head that I'm seeing.
It's pretty blue like Jesus, bro.
But
Yeah,
No, but it's a chance that the way I see it is that you offer a lot in my life. Free Wi-Fi, cheese, broth,
yeah,
friendship. Fifth thing.
some paint sometimes if you don't have the color.
True that. So the $5 is nominal, and I think even people online who see your content all the time, just your content and your inspiration of living your dream and living your passion, that's worth something monthly.
Yeah, and I mean,
And you can get it for free, but I'm a person where it's you ask me how much it's worth.
there's
and you
another
say $5. I'm gonna say $5
There's another
before
thing
you really.
too. I mean, you also get something like
I don't want
send
to find
you-
out the real value.
You
because I
get
have to pay the real
sign-up perks
value.
too. Plus, there's a draw every month I do for a pretty awesome prize.
Yeah, there's that
this
too.
month it's a 10x10 custom painting. So get on there, nexusvisions.com.
Didn't I win something? Oh, I want a print.
Yeah, he won a big 24x36-inch print.
And my son's bedroom looks so good. It's never looked so good.
So there you go. I mean, another reason I do that is, let's face it, not everybody wants to buy art. Like some people who follow my art, they might be 72 years old and they have the house full of stuff. They're like, I don't want more clutter. I don't want to buy anything from you, but I really love what you do. And they do want to support me. So, like, by giving this option to people to do that, then people that don't want to buy my art for whatever reason, maybe they love my art, but their spouse hates it. Their spouse looks at my art and they're like, oh, it makes me dizzy, man. I don't want any of his stuff in our house. Like, okay, that's
divorce.
That's for sure possible. I mean, everyone has different tastes. Like, okay, that person can be like, you know what, Adam, sign me up. And, like, if I win something, I'm sure my husband's going to let me hang it on the wall, or my wife is going to let me hang it on the wall because I won it, you know? So it's, like, cool. Mm-hmm. So it gives a lot of different people a different way to support me and to support the arts. And I'm an art collector. I still like to buy art. Like I said, I own 13 of this guy's paintings. So one thing I believe in is art karma. If you're an artist, you should be buying other artists' art. And there's lots of reasons besides karma. Like, it's a good way to network. It's a good way to learn about what it's like to buy art and be an art buyer and be on the other side of the coin and find out what it's like to have those kind of interactions. Because, like we talked about before, I bought art before I made art. And like, so I kind of knew from the other side, like, how it felt and what was good service, and like how Chris treated me when I bought his art. He made me feel special. He was really grateful. And I know that was all, like, genuine. It wasn't a show. And 99 out of 100 artists, when you support them, they're going to be very grateful and genuinely grateful. So, like,
yeah, I was with a friend yesterday. He was at one point I dropped him off to go do delivery of a sale, and literally, like, I turned to him and I told him, like, look, it's a sacred moment that someone's handing you cash money for, you know, solidified liquid paint on cotton. Mm-hmm. It's alchemy.
You should be using egg tempera on linen, bro.
Okay, let me put this away so no one... It's linen.
We were joking about that before, sorry.
But the point was that, like, it's so sacred that someone's doing this. And you need to look them in the eyes, you need to shake their hand, you need to convey in a look in their eyes that it means the world, that someone's supporting you like this. Because it's, and that's why we're kind of doing the podcast. I think a lot of our lives go undocumented, and people don't realize that we're...
Sometimes they don't realize we're people. They think we're these special, magical beings, and they see success on Instagram, which is all edited and the best highlight reels of artists' lives. And, you know, they think that we're rich and stuff when they see somebody buy one painting for $2,000 or $3,000.
Yeah, the vast
that
majority
might be the only one that we sell in the year that's that much. We might sell, like, just to keep things going. We might, you know, that's another thing you can do.
The vast majority
hit up
of artists,
ask them if you see them, like, hey, you got anything on special right now?
Yeah, you can always... Okay, yeah, that's the thing about art investing that we should...
Investing.
When you invest, bro, artists are the worst hagglers ever. You could...
Not me.
Well, okay. But, it's true. But, no, still, I got a... Okay, I got a 36 by 36 glow-in-the-dark painting, commissioned, $200 off this guy.
That is true.
And why?
He bought the canvas and the paint.
But see, that's the hustle. And my point that I was trying to make. Artists aren't the best hagglers, and you know when they're in the...
Because I didn't just get $200. I got $200 and a shout-out on his Instagram with, like, 9,000 or 10,000 followers. That's worth it.
It's behind the scenes. You know, you can talk to an artist and you can get certain deals if you find out what they want. And sometimes artists, they fluctuate, you know? Even if you're having a good month, you could have a bad month.
And even if you're having a great month, you can still have 60 paintings in the back that are for sale, and you want to make it an even greater month.
Yeah, but that in that situation, you're not lenient on price as much. But let's say, like...
Depends who's hitting you up. If it's one of your collectors that already owns
Here's the situation. You were doing a great month, and you thought the next month was going to be just as good, so you started investing in product. Then the next month, it didn't go so hot.
Mm-hmm, that's happening.
Now someone could hit you up and buy things at 60% off because you have to make those moves business-wise.
100%, and he's touching on something I want to bring up.
So when you see an artist invest... Hit them in the knees, boy. Come at them.
Hit them on the knees on their art, but whatever product they just released, realize that when they're releasing new products, it doesn't mean they're making lots of money. It means they just spent lots of money.
Yeah.
So if you dig the product, buy it. Like my new St. Patty's Day embroidery jacket.
No, it's fresh, you know?
It's fresh. I still got a couple left.
You know, but you know what? Put Pacific Northwest on that, and then I'll buy it.
I can't.
You know, you get that so often where it's like, I love your product, but... Another thing, please. That's know, and it's like, bro, it costs money to make these things.
Yeah. So if you buy the one that's already made, we're more likely to make the one that you might like really, really want. I get it if you don't want to buy the one that you don't really dig, though.
No one's forcing.
That's
anybody.
Okay.
But it's just like that's.
But become a patron.
That's the nitty gritty of an artist who pays all the bills. The truth is that most artists have jobs.
Most do.
Let's be real. Most artists have jobs. And that's why
and being an artist is a job even if you don't have another job.
And you know what's fucked up? Like, some artists are more talented than me. They're just not as confident.
Yeah.
That's the truth, right? So I want to see them produce more. I can't because they're working.
And here's something.
And I'd love for them
something.
And
like,
if you supported artists more, if we all supported artists more, that fucker, boy or girl, somewhere would quit their job and make more art for me.
100%.
To be inspired by.
100%.
So quit your fucking job. Because I'm on Instagram looking for your posts. I ain't seeing them because you're working.
Here's the thing that I've come
But you
across.
ain't working.
Here's the thing I've come across, an attitude I've come across from a lot of artists where they feel that if they're charging a lot of money for their art, they lose their artistic integrity. But you have to be able to live off your art if you're working full-time as an artist. So, of course, you have to charge enough to be able to make that happen. So, once you do, you're not losing your artistic integrity because you're proving to the world that you're freaking dedicated to your art career and you're going to make way more art and you're going to have way more time to dedicate to sharing your art with the world. So, more people will care about your art. And if you really are making art for that reason, then that's the goal. That's integrity.
Yeah. And I think we all have to realize that, like, the fantasy is that, yeah, I come on the scene and I sell canvases for $4,000. Ain't happening.
No, the fantasy is for like $100,000, yo.
Sure, but it ain't happening. The truth
is,
is,
his fantasies aren't big enough.
The truth is, you come in and you sell them at bargain prices.
Yeah, especially at first. Make your first sales to family, whatever. Yo,
yeah,
$50 just to put sold, and then as your prices raise over the time of your career,
that's the thing that people need to realize.
You can raise your prices.
It's a stock. Your prices raise on their own.
Mm-hmm.
You literally don't even have a say in it. You do, but you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You're just kind of like, 300, and people say yeah, then it's 300 now,
mm-hmm.
and then later you're like, let's try 600. It's 600, and if it works, it's 600 now. That's how it works. It's a matter of confidence.
It's a matter of confidence.
It's
a matter
when you
of
can
learning.
say a price and your voice doesn't crack and you're serious, and the other person believes that you're serious. That's confidence.
It's also what do you want to do with your art.
Price.
I mean, I know artists that really don't care about making a career. They'd like to sell art so they can buy more art supplies. And that's totally fine. If that's what you want to do.
That's a hobby artist.
That's a hobby artist. That's fine. But yo, I'm sure a lot of hobby artists make a lot of nice art. And there's nothing wrong with that if you're having fun being creative, if you're doing it as art therapy, etc. So look, I'm not trying to come down on any
Just
artists.
don't do mandalas and on Facebook. You'll never be the
best. You can,
best.
but you won't be the most famous if you don't put yourself out there. So, like, I'll be honest, like, I spend between 4 to 6 hours a day on social media. I'm on a whole bunch of different ones because it's just better to have different audiences looking at your art. There's different people on different ones, so why not have more people looking at your art if all it takes
go
is
back to the point
copy-paste?
of, like, the hobby. You're either the hobbyist or you're the professional artist.
Or you're neither. You're just like, you do art every once in a blue moon just for fun. That's cool too. If it's not even really a hobby, it's just like, oh, I'm gonna try this. Okay, cool. You know, like sometimes I try and play keyboard. I have a keyboard back there. I'm horrible at it. I touch the keys like once every 4 months, and it's okay. There's artists like that too. Great, awesome. I don't expect to be in Electric Light Orchestra cover band either. You know, so
Would be cool.
It would be cool, but I would definitely be in their band as the guitarist and bass player, not the keyboard player.
Mm-hmm.
Or the cover art of their
I
album.
think the point he's trying to make is that, or at least I'm hoping he's trying to make, is that this podcast is mostly for people who want to become professional artists, because we're two professional artists.
It's not. It's for anyone who's interested in art and who wants a behind-the-scenes look at what being an artist really is like. You know, you don't have to want to be an artist at all. If you just think me and Germ are, like, cool, or if you're, like, think we're really good looking, and you know, of course we are, but like, so I don't care why you're watching. If you're watching and listening, I'm grateful for that. That's amazing, and
I just think that it's I don't know if there's another podcast where two successful professional artists just sit down and talk about art business, because we're mostly business oriented. You'll find out eventually.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
And that's super helpful for the professional artists. We might say some jokes for the regular folk, but for people that are trying to make money, hearing that sometimes you're going to be broke, hearing sometimes it's going to be hard, and it's going to take faith and all that stuff, I think this is what it's all about.
It's going to take faith, passion, dedication, like perseverance. You know, those are the things that it takes to start any business. A lot of people tell me, like, oh, art is such a hard business to start, but it's really not, because buying a paint and canvas costs, like, what? Even if you buy a really big canvas and a lot of paint, maybe $400. Like, gros max. And if you're not French, gros max means, like, maximum there. So, yeah, like most businesses, if you want to start a restaurant, you're investing $500,000. If you want to
Just
start
think about the salary.
if you want to start anything when you have employees, you have to invest a ton of money. If
you have to invest,
it's not
paying
hard
them
to start
for
a
6
business.
months.
It's
Think
not.
about that.
It's
you
not.
gotta pay their salary for 6 months
Before you even start making money, because you don't just have to pay salaries. You have to buy computers for your whatever. Any other business you need to start, you need to have either inventory or like a big infrastructure or a big huge advertising budget. If you're an artist, you can make shit and post it on social media, and there you go. It's free. So yeah, maybe later when you get really big, you can put money into advertising, doing festivals, getting booths at shows, But to build your foundation, man, it's easy. Like, it's never been easier in the history of mankind to start an art business. And starting an art business is visual. You don't need to convince people. They don't need to watch a video. They don't need to learn about it. Do they like it? Yes, buy it. It's
Hold on. It's really not just the art that's selling.
You're right. There's other things to it. There's totally other things to it. But as far as starting a business,
I think we can all say that you know someone out there that does garbage art, trash art. Wait, are we talking about me? And it's doing amazing.
Are you talking about you, or are you talking about my brush paper paintings?
Oh, so, get one, please. Get one, please. Well, the brush paper painting, I think, just stands for story sells the art. So, no matter what, you can be the best technical painter of all time. If you don't,
my works in progress too.
Oh yeah, please. If you could be the best technical painter in the world, that's not exactly what sells art. And a story sells art. So please give me a story.
Alright, here's a story. When I clean my paintbrushes, I use a paper towel. And for years I threw them out, and they sat on top of my garbage can just looking back at me, and I thought they looked like maybe little Jackson Pollock paintings sitting on the trash. And I felt sorry for them, like that commercial from IKEA that makes you feel sorry for the little lamp that they throw out in the rain. And I thought to myself, what if I frame one? So I did. And I kept it for a year before I showed it to anyone because I didn't want the paper towel to turn yellow or something like that, and it didn't. But now I take them and I frame them, and they become a piece of art, and people buy them from me, so I make money from something that used to go in the garbage. And there's basically two kinds of people. There's people that tell me I'm a genius for thinking of this and that they love them.
I was literally going to say, so let me say the other part.
Okay.
And people that hate it.
Yeah, and not only hate it, they hate
me.
They hate that people buy them, and they come in my comments sections on social media and tell people that say I just bought one that they're morons. So like,
how powerful is that?
So
how powerful?
My point is, I don't know who's the morons. The ones that bought one of these for $34.99, an original painting with my signature on it, or the ones who didn't and they're gonna miss the chance to buy an original painting by me for $34.99.
The real crux is that one group understood the story, the other group did not understand the story. The other group who doesn't understand the story, they see toilet paper and garbage marks of paper, and then